Hello world, Frank Mondeose here, coming to you from Puerto Viejo, Costa Rica. I got in maybe 3-4 days ago. I heard that Trudeau, our Prime Minister, was talking about closing down all travel for non-essential travel. And I took that as my cue to leave Canada and set up shop down here south where the sun is shining, where there's no curfews, and people are not freaking out about COVID. I think here people are being responsible, but nobody is in the drama. It's pura vida here. That's the line well known in Costa Rica. So today I was thinking about, what do I want to talk about? Do I want to talk about politics? Do I want to talk about COVID? But in the end, I recognize that's all noise. And what's more true for me is in this moment, we are currently January 27th. And what's really alive for me is brotherhood and a new age of brotherhood that is dawning upon us. And why? Why does this come up now? Number one is because for the third time, myself, Nimai, Philippe, Gil, and now Juan are getting ready to hold a 5-day intensive container called the Remember Brotherhood Journey in the other side of the country, closer to Nosara, San Juanillo. And just wanted to share a few words about our ever-evolving brotherhood, and also invite you to join us as there's still some space available. But more importantly, to just share a bit of my experience of how it's been to work with these 5 bros. And one of the biggest thing that emerges, one of the biggest pieces about Remember that is emerging, that is inspiring me, is how we work with power and how we share power. In the traditional form, there's always like one authority and that dictates everything, and it's a top-down approach. Whereas at Remember, it's really a focused concentration of sharing power and allowing the leadership to change hands dynamically as one of the brothers have a charge or a call to lean in. And this is one of the pieces that we work to model in our containers, and something that we're really holding point for as an ever-evolving expansion into community living or just in the brotherhood. When you think of brotherhood, a lot of time it's like what comes up, especially in our culture of sports and entertainment, there's this idea of competition. And what we strive for at Remember is to release the competition and lean into how we complement each other and how we are greater in the allowing of what wants to emerge versus pushing forward one's own agenda. You know, this is not always easy. It's like I could sit here and just talk about the beauty and the love and the ease of fraternity, but it's not easy. And it takes a lot of energy. And, you know, one of the things that have come up for us in the Brotherhood, especially recently, especially with, you know, COVID protocols, taking care of the lowest common denominator in our circle of the individuals coming in, and, you know, dancing between care for each individual that comes in to know that they are walking into a space that has been that is intentional and that has been thought through, and that we create protocols that honor people, But at the same time, it's like on the other side of the spectrum is this idea that we don't want to cave into the fear or feed the storyline, and recognize if we are responsible beings, if we take care of ourselves in a sovereign way and we don't act irresponsibly, that are protocols even necessary? So this, in complete vulnerability and authenticity, this has like shook our brotherhood. It's like split us down the middle in terms of like, how do we deal with something when fear is at play, where responsibility is at play, and where our desire to be sovereign and self-deciding comes in. And so we are currently still in that process, and it's churning us and it's working us. But one of the things that is emerging more and more as we soften into each of our come-froms is each of our desire to really serve the collective in a way that we think is healthy and loving. And that's the piece that has really emerged, is the clarity that we are so in, that we are so all in, that really what's emerged is that at the core of it is love. And what I've learned in this journey is that I could hold a point and I could hope or wish or attempt to inspire those around me to step in deeper with me, but I can't push. I can't push to have my way. And the more I push to have my way, or the more somebody else pushes to have their way, the greater separation we create. How to hold the point in the moments of discussion, in the container where we are really going into the bits and bytes, and hold the point. And sometimes I recognize I could be freaking fierce, and that is like scary and aggressive to some people. But really, it's the idea is to bring forth my truth with rawness and passion, and in the attempt to inspire. And I don't always get it right, and I ruffle feathers. And one of the things we say, remember, is like, we stay in the fire. We stay in the fire together until like some version of resolution comes out, or we've restored trust. And that's our commitment. So it's not really about being right or having it one way or another, but really about the process of churning or burning or transmuting as we sit in the fire and forging the steel of our brotherhood, recognizing how different each one of us are and how much we all come from heart and passion, but recognizing we're all different. So what to do in these moments? And I don't have the answer. For me, my process has been to listen deeply to the brothers, listen to the collective, and listen to the unknown, what is trying to come forth. And for me as a leader, my responsibility is not to get my way, but really to distill all the voices, distill all the sounds. And then and listening again to that lowest common denominator, or on another way of putting it is the weak link. So what do we do with the weak link in a chain? Do we attempt to remove it and cast it out, or do we put it in the fire and forge it so that it gets more solid? And we could only do that in the process of listening and bending and being open to shift our perspective, not to be right, to be in greater allowance of where the deepest charge is or where the greatest fear is. Because if we're pushing against fear with intensity, we're only increasing the separation. But when we meet fear with understanding, a greater softness, that we can create a foundation of more security. And when there's more security, there's the possibility for each of us to open. So at Remember, it's like we're holding these protocols, wearing masks 10 days before the training. And we've had also some pushback from the field saying, I don't want to wear masks for 10 days before. I feel that this is all bullshit and all of that. And it's like what I've attempted to meet these brothers with, regardless of what I believe, is can we acknowledge that sometimes to go into a deep container of healing and transformation, we want all the perspectives, but at the same time, we also have to recognize that there's a price of admission, that there's the lowest common denominator that we have to honor, and through honoring that lowest common denominator, we allow the greatest perspectives to emerge. At least I think so. But in order for those perspectives to emerge, those holding on to like, I don't believe and I will not, need to soften. Because what is that perspective of any value if you're holding it as an independent cog outside of the container? It's only when we melt and come in and step in with the price of admission, whether it be money, masks, quarantine, or whatnot, that we could then show up in all our truth in a container where we get reflections, we are seen and are able to be reflected upon and also inspired. That's the goal of being in brotherhood. It's to inspire each other to open, inspire each other to find more courage and bravery, inspire each other to show up when there is difficulty. And so this is our process right now as we are, 2-3 weeks from the training, maybe, about 2-3 weeks from the training. The Remember Brotherhood Journey starting February 9th to 13, 2021, in the midst of COVID, like not bending to the thing of saying we will not come together and we need to be isolated, but saying for those that are ready, for those that want to step in, for those that feel called to continue to expand in these times of manipulation, isolation, care, protection, however you want to frame it, it's like we still come together. And this might be the most important time to come together, as it's the time where we've been isolated, we haven't touched each other, we have been alone, and now is a time to melt into this container. And how do we create a safe and powerful container to continue doing our work, not being afraid, not running away from our obligations to be citizens or individuals or a brotherhood in times of crisis. So this is what's up, and the process of Remember Brotherhood Journey and cooking in the container has started for the 5 facilitators or lead bros, and we've been in this juice for at least 3 weeks right now. And so for whoever that is feeling this message and feeling this call, we invite you to jump in. The time is now. Check out rememberjourney.com, and if you're a hell yes, please, we want you there. We want your vibration, and we want all of you, the good, the bad, the ugly, the passionate, the soft, the afraid, and the love, and we will work together in order to create a new world and strengthen our brotherhood so that we can change this paradigm. Let love free.